Welcome everyone to some quick live stream with my little drop frames after work here. The last of the crazy ones supporting vintage and retro stuff, PowerPC, not only PS3 but obviously also vintage Apple hardware here live on YouTube. Yesterday actually I wasted way too much time. Then I should tell, improving our open firmware, Apple compatible ISO implementation, and also improving using the ISO, dumping that to an USB drive, some drive, disk drive, and yeah, I got a typo as I mentioned, obviously. So learned some stuff yesterday, even 20 years later, still improving our open firmware skills and improving our live CD, installer CD. And I just took a look. People said, yeah, our installer stuff is still not amazing. So many details, so many bits and pieces, and yeah, also didn't just even support that here, as you see. So you can follow that there on YouTube and Instagram stuff. And 100 frames. So let's continue a little bit on this stuff. Also annoying that Wayland thinks this display is right when it is left, but yeah. So yesterday I was basically not live streaming that. Leave in the comments below, do you want to see everything live streamed, or also yesterday this was quite some trial and error. But so what I yesterday improved, so basically we should actually improve that here. I also changed the naming. I initially used here Grub L from the installer. I actually don't like it like that. Which do we have here? That is PowerPC. So that is a prefix. MNT, so apparently we mounted that. So far so good. So I would use Grub also for the, I mean, we can use boot Grub, but the most thing is this ELF. I used this ELF because for the installer I thought I needed some extension. I think nobody else did that. Long story short, with creator types and yeah, and blessing there with HFS blessed stuff for booting that from open firmware. So long story short, now that I figured some more stuff out, also with create MK ISO FS and stuff, and so we could continue using boot Grub, but it's a little bit annoying typing backslashes for people who don't necessarily know that they need to use backslashes, because nothing else except DOS and open firmware uses backslashes. So just out of that convenience, I use that path. But anyway, we could later change it at any time, just like, anyway. Also, I had this hard-coded, so that was just when I tested this. This is like one dump, and the last developer uses that. This, of course, shouldn't be HD2. That should be in open firmware. This is a, is it, yeah, this probably should be Shrub, aka CHRP for Common Hardware Reference Platform. So that is variables in CHRP. How to even pronounce? I don't know. Do people say Shrub? Oh, yeah, variables are &device semicolon. It's super stupid, but that is what it is. Let me just quickly double check. Is this the right syntax? And more drop frames, architecture, PowerPC boot, and what did I use? Oh wait, this is not here. That is in OF boot. Although I'm not even so historically it was named like that. I only copied that from Yaboot or something. I think theoretically we could also name this, or should name this anything else. So here I used &device semicolon colon, because you can never have too many. So, and I see, so only one slash comma backs. All right, we need two backslashes because this is printed from shell, so we need those, and then not Grub elf because that is annoying. And I wonder one day I will check. Gentoo is using some 50 hex, which is it? Oh no, 32 hex. This is 50 pixel or so icon. I need to check another day. Maybe that replaces Suhul. I mean, this is what Yaboot always used. That is 16, right? 16 pixel, 10 hex. Also module frames maybe, yeah, sorry for that. But yeah, theoretically, maybe one day Gentoo is using there, or is Gentoo using the GNU? I'm not sure, I didn't decode that. But yeah, maybe someday we also need a cooler icon, but that certainly is totally unimportant. What is important is that this shit boots, obviously, and yeah, that increases the chances there. Ah, wait, we also need this blessing, right? Where is this? Do we bless that here somewhere? Maybe this is missing. Is this missing blessing? Oh no, here's it. Ah, here's a blessing. All right, we bless. All right, this works. We bless the OF boot. So theoretically, we could call this T2 boot or maybe Grub. I mean, maybe the better naming convention would be grub.b for a grub boot wrapper. Also, now we have more drop frames because Doxer sucks. Oh man, bloody shit. Sorry for that, drop frames. Yeah. I didn't bother to activate LTE here. Very theoretically, and this is all the details, right? You could do so much. We could even set the right Mac risk stuff. Those are 32 bits. I think this is old. Correct me if I'm wrong. This might be old world, that might be new world, and that might be 16-bit, but I need to check that. Could be slightly different or variations of thereof. I never bother to change this because 32-bit boot and grub always boot, so I never bother to change that. But theoretically on a 64-bit PowerPC we could mark it to be 64-bit only. Then I'm not sure, is it really worth it? I mean, I don't, yeah, it could be done. Is it necessary? And because worst case you still have a grub too. I mean, I find it's always a little bit annoying. You put the PowerPC disk in there and it doesn't show in the Finder, in the boot picker, and then you don't know what's going on. And worst case, Grub should probably still boot because it's always 32-bit, I guess. So worst case, you still have a working Grub then. This is why I always left it in there. And the ISO boots on all, but doesn't necessarily boot the kernel then. But anyway. So yeah, so this should work. This is O-boot, yeah, a little bit improvements. Do we have any other hard codings? Was it the? I would need to check with Discord. Is it the, or do we have another HDA? SDA? How do we bootstrap? How do we? Okay, I already disk type Apple Bootstrap that. I guess that is new, because once upon a time I had this hard-coded. Do we correctly H format mount? Yeah, still needs huge refactoring because this is everything clobbered and YOLO together until it freaking works. P3 work, yeah, kinda, it's PowerPC work, and this is actually Apple, not PowerPC, but just in general, but otherwise welcome and hope you learned something and that you tuned in. So, Grub, that should work, right? That is, where is this directory? All right, and we can't use, I actually wanted to name this last night boot grub, but we have already a directory boot grub. I mean, strictly, we don't necessarily need this boot directory. That's always, we could actually just put it into the top level directory, this boot directory, but yeah. I mean, basically it's already bootstrapped. But anyway, I don't change too much. I don't want to break everything. Just making it, it's just this grub else thing is annoying and that needed to be fixed. I slightly wonder, do we need, I guess yesterday it didn't work without the colon. Not sure. So this is partition, so I would hope that works like that. I think on the CD it worked like that, so probably. I think on the CD it errored out strangely without that. Probably should actually check in QEMU with it. This actually boots, but probably not today. So grub there, and the device there. mi trunk grub 2 stolen module or without elf fixed to dynamically use boot. Something like that, I guess. Fixed dynamically as a boot device. Very theoretically, we could even put there more menu stuff in. Do we have, does this mole download work? It's even more, wow, revision 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that is the thing. Basically, I could burn all my time and life here doing all the open source Linux work, just then I don't have food for my family. Because theoretically test Grub 2, and I mean, maybe I've community testing that anyway. Grub 2, PowerPC, and also, yeah, so the Mesa code is removed now, so there is not that much. Yeah, it's probably fine. Did I extract that already? Mac on, maybe not xf download. Because I think Mole had a crazy boot wrapper as, what was the download Mole? As far as I remember, they had a crazy boot wrapper. Maybe that was in here though. It is crazy though how good Mole was for being probably a hobby project. Yeah, quite some people. It was crazy how quality Mac on Linux was, to be honest. Where would be, do they have some, yeah, best without all this stuff. Do they have some naming convention? No, or pity. Let's maybe grab for screen. Here is some open. Start more. Somewhere there probably should have. Yeah, off screen. I mean, it's really crazy how this was so. I mean, compared to, this was like, basically I did all the, as crazy it is, right? 15 years ago, I did all the T2 Rock Linux development, or project 20 years. It was basically way more efficient to develop on PowerPC on my iBooks than on x86. There was QEMU was in its infancy. There was KQEMU before there even was hardware virtualization. This was so quick and snappy that was amazing, to be honest. Where would be there? Here is some scripts. Oh no, this can't be that because that is some shell script. Installer sims. What exactly is this stuff doing? Is that looks like some open firmware thing. Wonder what they use it for. I mean, here is some output device. Would it be that OF tree? Exported OF. No, this should not. This should not be that. Not sure where they. Was this not in? Or was it in Yaboot? I thought it was in. How was it? This was Mac on Linux. Because it was using the same. Maybe it was in Yaboot after all. Maybe they deleted. Could it be actually? Wait a second. Maybe it was in Yaboot then. So let's do have there. Used some other Linux G4. Also tried. Yeah, I only use my own Linux, obviously. I'm a little bit biased. I don't build a Linux distribution for 25 years to use others then. But all right, this is probably what I wanted to do. I mean, theoretically, we know that. It's not like I would just like forget that. I mean, besides tons of PS3 work, naturally, but also, what did I add? Now I forgot it, or I just remembered. PowerPC art. I'll probably remember in a second. Was it P3, PowerPC? Darn, I should have put it first in the to-do. Example, readme, multi. Here's some multi-boots, the screen, output color, yeah, boot conf OF first. Ah, maybe this one. I guess that one here. Make sure this is somehow this crazy shell scripting. Here is something. Okay, so they dynamically generate the stuff. So yeah, they use. I think I probably copied the Tux icon batch from here. Yeah, here probably. So that is how you set the color palette and use variables. Of course, it's intermixed with boot output, but you can like print your stuff and read your stuff. And this is probably the boot chooser for booting Mac OS. They probably dynamically output whether you have Mac OS installed or not. There would be whatever. No, there's only one in there though. Do they have? Oh, there must be somewhere. Anyway, what would it be that I just forgot to make a note? PS3. What did I want to? This was something driver. Yeah. Anyway, welcome everyone. Anthony wants me to work on the Linux driver, NVIDIA driver. So which NVIDIA driver you mean? You mean their? You mean working on their open source stuff, or? But in general, I don't even have to. I mean, I usually work on stuff that I need, and it's not like I would need more NVIDIA stuff, but. The only open source parts of the kernel module, yeah. By the way, theoretically speaking of this, we need to polish our SGI impact driver. So the crazy thing is that I burned already, I remember 2 years ago, I burned so much time on the bloody hardware cursor. It's the yeah. I mean, you're not the most interested in this SGI impact stuff. Somehow the what was it? Some X map, strange stuff inside there was really strange. Also, obviously, maybe we write here PS3 storage and also P3 RSX stability and publish that. Obviously, what was it? There was some mildly important thing I wanted to. No, whatever. So. Why do I have here test stuff? What was it even? Probably some nonsense. Not sure why I have this garbage here. Browser window load UI. What the heck? What is it even? I have no idea why I have that there. Don't even remember July 2021. No idea what I've done there. Was it boot stuff? I mean, very theoretically, the question is, do I have all this stuff in GitHub? I mean, maybe I should. I mean, the problem is not too many people work on like my issues anyway. The major stuff I have, of course, on GitHub, where you can even have feature bounties, right? If you want to work on this stuff. Why is this so slow? Do we have drop frames? Hello, drop frames. Oh gosh, 35% of 14. Looks like there were quite some gaps in the transmission because 14,000 drop frames, 35%. Yeah, would have failed. Thank you for this garbage internet. How can you even advertise this as freaking business internet? Other crazy stuff I had here previously before I deleted this Ultra 5 did not soft power off anymore. Ah, right, this is, now I remember what I wanted to put there. Theoretically, Firefox on debug, Firefox on PowerPC 32. Yeah. Do we have here like... Yeah, so it doesn't make the most sense. I also said it before, I really need to start to work on my microkernel. I can't fix each and every nonsense. Like Ultra's bug not pouring, Ultra 5 not soft pouring off anymore. Anyway, got to go. Quickly wanted to share that. I think I committed that, right? I have only other random stuff. What do I have here even? Read F. Oh, right, this was some. That was some SGI stuff. And this was probably some testing that I don't want to save here. Always some random testing here and there. Not even sure what's going on with this stuff. Alright, this is probably, did this even, not sure. Random stuff. And I just saw here what's going on with Mesa. Alright, chat. There's always something. It's probably also some random testing. Yeah, so what I will soon continue because T2 is mostly amazing. 25. I mean, there's always 1,000 to-dos, but share, like, and subscribe. And maybe I need to employ someone and fund more community, increase the issue bounties, or find some students here because I obviously can't work on everything. But otherwise, I would rather like to do some more research with not only demo code and showing you low-level stuff with the Virtual Voodoo and then NVIDIA Matrox, even the Intel, basically the stuff that was deleted in Mesa. Also, what is actually more useful for me and others, as I made a video some time ago, most of the UI stuff is actually not hardware accelerated, right? So what I would rather do is not only my microkernel, but also in this context, using this new level code to, I mean, back in the day, 20 years ago, we had more hardware isolated UIs, like filling and blitting and stuff, but nowadays the crazy stuff is like most of the stuff is software rendered, and then only the resulting stuff cached and alpha blended and stuff. So there is some acceleration, like scrolling is accelerated, but it's also crazy that like most of the other stuff is not really much accelerated anymore. And it's crazy that, sure, the graphic is a little bit more anti-aliased and alpha blended these days, but it's crazy that basically 20 years ago, like text selection and inversion and color highlighting and stuff was more accelerated than it is nowadays. I mean, for example, this is accelerated. It's most likely they probably even, or is it? Yeah, so they probably create a new window and they blitz this one. So this is basically moved by the GPU. But anyway, it's crazy that a lot of other stuff is not would want. There was this project Intel something, which is also all the good projects have been done, installed and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, quickly wanted to do the PowerPC stuff. He's making and which emulator to don't stop streaming? What emulator? Yeah, so if you want this notification, don't forget to like and subscribe. Strangely, nobody's complaining about this. I mean, my OBS shows 17,000 frames or 35% lost with only 3 Mbit, which is this crazy Vodafone Toxis garbage here. Sorry for that, it was basically just some... And the crazy thing is normally I would need to run now QEMU and boot this stuff. Yeah, it's not even 3 Mbit. I live stream, you can't mix this shit up just to... I live stream with 2.75 Mbit and we have just to document this that people don't 18 freaking thousand. It's hilarious. Thanks for nothing, Vodafone. I don't know. You had one.